Mike Rosen on News Radio 850 KOA.
All right, let's get right on it. There's a looming shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security, which, by the way, is a gross overstatement, as I'll explain in a moment. But we have Congressman Ken Buck, representing Colorado's 4th Congressional District, who's in his freshman year in the U.S. House. He's on the line with us right now. We'll talk about the ins and outs of this and what the consequences will be, both practically and politically. And there are two different battles going on, one in the House, one in the Senate, and, of course, the ultimate battle will be joined with President Obama in the White House. Ken, thanks for joining us.
You betcha, Mike.
All right, so the House has already passed a clean bill. Is that correct?
That is, well, we haven't passed a clean bill. We've passed a bill that limits the president's spending on the executive order that he passed on immigration.
Excuse me, I said exactly the opposite of what I wanted to say. The bill that passed the House does not include funding for Obama's overreach amnesty for 5 million illegal immigrants. That's
overreach, unconstitutional, and illegal.
And now we've got a ruling from a federal court judge saying that the prosecutorial discretion part of it is fine, but that doesn't include heaping benefits on people. It has nothing to do with prosecutorial discretion, which I completely agree with. In any event, that's passed the House, where Republicans have a majority and where there is no filibuster. The problem is, even though Republicans have a majority in the Senate right now, the Democrats are filibustering not only a comprehensive bill that includes funding for Obama's immigration overreach, but they're filibustering even a clean bill right now.
Absolutely. And it is clear that Harry Reid continues to control the Senate because he has enough votes to prevent a bill from coming to the floor. And he is acting at the president's direction. And this president does not want a bill, and he's going to force a shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security. It's
and
terrible.
if that happens, it'll be the president who is shutting down the Department of Homeland Security, or at least that part of it that will actually be shut down. People need to understand, since they don't teach this in civics classes anymore, that no bill can go to the president's desk until it passes both houses of Congress. You can't just send the House bill up there. If the Senate passes a bill that isn't exactly the same as a House bill, it has to go to a conference committee, and one bill that both sides agree with is what gets advanced to the president. So it's Harry Reid in the Senate that is preventing a bill even from going to Obama's desk.
Absolutely, and the bill that passed the House passed on January 14th. We're talking about 5 weeks ago. The House passed a bill that has been sitting in the Senate with no action because the Democrats there continue to filibuster any bill, even considering a clean bill. They won't consider anything in the Senate at this point.
And by the way, from a terminology standpoint, the reason I got my terminology wrong on clean bill is because in my mind, I regard a clean bill as one that doesn't have that dirty presidential overreach in it. But in current parlance, a clean bill means a bill that doesn't remove from the bill funding for the president's overreach.
Right, and I agree with you. In this case, a clean bill would be a bill that funds unconstitutional and illegal behavior by the President of the United States. It doesn't seem very clean to me either.
All right, so where do we go from here? I suspect that Boehner is talking to McConnell about what to do about this.
I think you're right. Their offices are next to each other. I assume they're communicating about it. No one has told me. I could tell you that I am not going to vote for a bill that funds unconstitutional actions by this president, and I think that there are many in the House that feel this way, and we will just have to see what we get presented with. But right now, we're waiting for the Senate to act.
If the House doesn't pass a bill that includes funding for Obama's immigration amnesty overreach, then there will be no bill going to the president's desk unless such a bill passes the Senate, which isn't going to happen with Harry Reid there. Regarding a shutdown, no less liberal a source than Time magazine noted that employees deemed essential to national security make up roughly 80% of the workforce. They'll continue to work without paychecks. So the Department of Homeland Security will not be shut down. When we've had these shutdowns in the past and government employees went without paychecks until it was resolved, in every single case, they've gotten their back pay. So it's only pay that's being deferred.
In my understanding, it's that 87% of the Department of Homeland Security will be employed during the shutdown. It's only 13% that will not be employed.
So the Department of Homeland Security, after 9/11, was created, including a number of other departments and agencies, so that they'd all be under one coordinated head. I've got the organization chart of the Department of Homeland Security in front of me. And some of the functional elements of it include the Transportation Security Administration, United States Custom and Border Protection, Citizenship and Immigration Services, the Secret Service is in it, FEMA is in it, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, to the extent that personnel from these various agencies are involved in security operations, such as securing our border. They're essential personnel and they'll still be on duty. Is that correct?
That's right. All essential personnel will still report to work, and it is the clerical functions and some others that will not report. But TSA will still be operating, and border security and all the other essential functions will be operating. And frankly, if this president feels strong enough about the security of this country that it may be endangered without the other 13%. He should just announce today that he is going to withdraw his executive action, and we can fully fund the Department of Homeland Security.
I guess it comes down to prioritization. Which is the greater priority? Number one, keeping the Department of Homeland Services fully functioning, or number two, granting effective amnesty to 5 million illegal aliens as Obama desires. If you take that element of it out, the Department of Homeland Security fully functions. It seems to me that that's a much more important priority for the vast majority of Americans than Obama's overreach on amnesty.
Absolutely. Handing out 5 million work visas and 5 million Social Security cards is not going to make this country more secure. In fact, it's going to make it less secure because the people he's handing those to are folks that, some of those folks have been convicted of drunk driving, domestic violence, other crimes that he is ignoring and welcoming those people into this country. That act alone makes the country less secure, much less couple that with the fact that the Department of Homeland Security will be, at least 13% of it will be shut down for a period of time while we resolve this issue.
So if the House has already passed a bill funding the important elements of Homeland Security, but not allowing Obama to advance his amnesty plan without congressional approval, which he never got. The House has already passed that. If Harry Reid in the Senate would stop the filibuster and allow a vote on a similar bill in the Senate as the one that's already passed the House, and that vote would pass because there's a majority of Republicans in the House, then a combined bill could go to the president's desk, and he could decide whether to sign it or veto it. If he vetoes it, he would be shutting down the Department of Homeland Security.
Well, he is shutting it down now with his conspiracy with Senator Harry Reid to prevent the bill from coming to the floor. There are clearly more than 50 votes in the United States Senate in favor of this, but because of the filibuster rule, the cloture rule, they're able to hold this up because the Republicans can't get to 60 votes. But the senators like Michael Bennet, who are up for re-election, need to answer to the American public why they are not going to vote to continue funding for the Department of Homeland Security.
When Democrats still had a majority in the U.S. Senate before the 2014 election, Harry Reid broke with tradition. And with a simple majority vote, a majority of Democrats, he did away with the filibuster rule as it applied to nominees for federal judgeships. That had never happened before. Since Harry Reid has broken the bottle on that now, are the Republicans considering following suit and changing the rule, doing away with the filibuster in the U.S. Senate. If they do that, then a Homeland Security bill along the lines of the one that passed the House could go to the president's desk.
Yes.
Now, the ramifications of this are long range. At some time in the future, if Democrats have a majority in the Senate, then Republicans wouldn't be able to slow the process down with a filibuster. That would be a long-term consequence. But since Harry Reid has let the cat out of the bag on this, maybe this is the appropriate time to do just that. Get rid of the filibuster rule for now.
Well, you know, you wouldn't even have to get rid of it on every issue. Appropriations bills are different by their nature, and you could, you know, Harry Reid chose in a specific area to change the rules, and that was presidential nominees. If Senator McConnell were forced to, he could change the rules on appropriations. But it just seems that Republicans play by a different set of rules. We've made a decision that Senator McConnell's made a decision that he's going to go back to regular order and trying to maintain the tradition in the Senate. And the consequence is going to be that the Democrats are going to be able to shut down the Department of Homeland Security and try to blame the Republicans for the shutdown.
And you're right. Under regular order as currently constituted, those budget bills, those appropriations bills, only need a majority. They can't be filibusters. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
All right.
Well, no, I'm sorry. The appropriations bills still need to go through the cloture vote. The budget bill, through reconciliation, can the cloture rule can be avoided in that situation.
Under reconciliation, exactly right. Yes. So we do have other examples of legislative areas where filibusters can't be used, and this would be another one.
That's correct. Yes.
All right. Well, what's your guess as to whether that's going to happen?
My guess right now is that in a day, in a few hours, the Department of Homeland Security will shut down, and we're going to be working this weekend, which is fine. We should be working. When government fails, the people that are in charge should be held responsible, and I'm looking forward to figuring out the solution. So
all right,
and that, the Senate, and I hope they decide pretty quickly what to do.
And that part of the Department of Homeland Security that would shut down might include personnel, the General Counsel's Office, the Chief Financial Officer, Science and Technology, Legislative Affairs, Public Affairs, the Chief Privacy Officer, but it wouldn't include the TSA and the Immigration and Customs Enforcement and the United States Secret Service and all of those other essential functions.
Absolutely. The people who are on the ground protecting us are essential and will be at work the entire time.
Okay. Ken, keep us informed on this. If you get any other hot news before we're off the air at 3, please give us a call. Let us know.
I'll do that. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.